Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's the Political Brown Kid here. I just want to bring up something that I've seen. Actually, I ran across a TikTok video, and it's even posted on YouTube as well. But I ran across it on TikTok. Trust me, don't ask me why I was on TikTok. I technically only use one social media platform, but it was this video from I think a username Dana Dane. I think that's her name. I think she has some more other stuff behind that, but young sister, she did a video in regards to I guess younger girls, the younger rappers of today, younger female rappers of today, and she was specifically aiming at one particular woman. I'm not even going to mention her name because I think she runs with the other girl. I'm not going to mention her name either. Both of their names begin with an S. Young rappers. I don't know how these females became popular or famous. I don't understand. I'll talk about that at another time. But she was basically calling the female an industry plant, basically because she's ruining the image of young black women or just black women, period. And really, she could have made this video. When I'm saying she, I'm talking about Dana Dane. She could have made this video about a lot of the female rappers. I'm not going to start naming names because really you can name any female rapper that's out right now. The name would apply. I mean, that her response would apply. And I say that because I say this. I have not heard any new music today, currently, and maybe that's just me. Maybe it's my ignorance, and maybe you all can correct me. But I have not heard any new music today, specifically from female rappers, that is worth listening to. You can't listen to this stuff. I made a video before about I think what is feminism fighting for. I don't think I posted that one, but I'm going to post it. But and I'm going to touch on it real quick here is that when you look at it, feminism just fought for women to just be trifling. And you don't hear any feminists, they're sticking together. You don't hear Oprah say anything about this. You don't hear Gail say anything about this. And these are two women that love to beat up on black men, Oprah and Gail. They'll beat up on a black man in a heartbeat. But you don't see them holding these young females accountable for anything. It's all about this, with this feminist movement, they're allowing just women to just be trifling and nasty and just, they're everything but anything constructive. And so this female, Dana Dane, I applaud her for saying what she said because it takes another woman to come in and say what, what needs to be said, and hopefully someone will listen. And she's even saying, hey, look, women, we need to separate from these females. And that would be good because, as you all know, black women separated from the black man. They let it be known, black women. They've created a whole new race, black women. There's white, Asian, black, and then black women. They don't associate with us. And so she's now saying, let's separate it against, I guess, from the raunchy black women. So I guess the regular black women. And so this female responded back. I'm not going to mention her name. And she just puts money over everything. I'm getting money. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. And once again, money trumps everything. At least in some people's mind, they figure it's just because they have money that it's an excuse for them to act foolish. And they think that they can say that and make you go away. Well, sometimes you have to have pride in yourself. And even if it's not for yourself, even if you're not doing it for yourself, you're a representation of your race, of your gender. It could be even of your city. But you are a representation, and also definitely your family. And obviously, you have to say if her family doesn't care, then obviously she's a representation of probably the triflingness that came out of her family. But the bigger point too, the other point, I shouldn't say bigger, but just the other point that I wanted to make and just kind of rambling here as a brain dump on this subject is when you look at the female rappers, and that's why I say this, when you look at the female rappers, and I'm talking about pretty much all of them, and maybe I'm not listening to enough, I don't hear anything constructive coming from any of these female rappers. And that's why I said what I said in the feminist vlog that I did. When you listen to male rappers, and even I'm going to go back in the day. So let's go back in the day. because a lot of women had problems back in the day. Remember when they rode over all of the, they bought a whole bunch of rap video CDs. People who are young, y'all don't remember this, but I'm going to explain it to you anyway. I forget the name of the lady who did it. I want to say she's still in politics right now. I forget, but they bought Tupac CDs, I think NWA, Snoop Dogg, and they rolled them up in a big pile and rolled over them with one of them things that, you know, you smooth out the asphalt with, and they rolled over it with that. Boom. And then what's the name of them? And the rappers was like, y'all just bought our CDs just to do that. Okay, so y'all put money in my pocket. Now, I don't agree with that because money isn't everything. But the point is this. When you look back in the day, even though those certain people had a problem with the misogyny in rap, with the language in rap, with the use of the N-word in rap, and just the pure ignorance in rap, and trust me, there's always ignorance in rap music, you still had those other individuals, like you had Queen Latifah, you had Moni Love, you had MC Lyte, you had Salt and Pepper. As a matter of fact, you could probably name every female rapper besides BWP, and a few of them that were just downright trifling. You know, BWP was probably the first one that you heard, you know, when they came out with the song 5 Minute Brother and all that. I think that was them. But outside of that, most of the female rappers had clean, responsible lyrics. And they were civil, or it was just civilized. And even if you looked at the men who were trifling back then, you could look at the men and say, yeah, a lot of the men did some trifling music. There was still a balance there. Like you could look at, even if you wanted to judge NWA and say, well, NWA is trifling, even if you wanted to say that, you could look and say, well, there's a Public Enemy, there's Chuck D in Public Enemy. You could look and say there's Paris, you know, who was also pro-black. You could look and say that there's people like Rakim that were out there. The Grandmaster Flash and Grandmaster Melly Mel and the Furious Five dropping knowledge on individuals. You could look and there were so many other positive rappers that kind of provided that balance. Heavy D, Father MC. So for those generations, and then you did have that dark period of rap when just like, I guess all of the hustlers and gangsters took over and everything had to be about keeping it real. But even in those periods of time, and even leading up to today, you still saw those young, the backpackers, those positive brothers trying to come into the movement. You saw it, you know. You could even see it with, you know, like even in today's music, you can listen and you can say for every, and I don't listen to a lot of young music today, but for every this type of rapper, you can look and say, well, at least there's J. Cole and there's Kendrick Lamar that are out there. And again, I'm not totally hip and familiar with all of the new rappers because trust me, I try not to listen to it because it's just the rap just, I'm not feeling it anymore. Besides the older rap. But with the females, I really can't say that there's a balance. I really can't say, and again, I'm allowing and opening up the door to discussion for people to correct me and possibly educate me on whether there's some newer females that's out here that's dropping lyrics. But all I hear about is eating stuff like groceries. That is just the continuous line that you want to hear. It is like really, it's almost listening to, like when you listen to these females rap, you're really listening to adult video content. I can't use the P word because, you know, I don't want to use that word here, but it's like listening to a XXX adult content without the video. And they're just doing a play-by-play of what they're doing in the video. It gets worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. They've delved into a realm that is just unbelievable. And you can't blame this on the men. You can't say that men are forcing young women to do this. And I'm pretty sure probably in 2 more years or if ever these females start catching backlash and society turns on them and starts vilifying them, they'll play the victim and they'll say, oh, my manager made me do this. He's a man and he made me make these vulgar songs and I didn't want to do them. Or they'll blame it on a record company executive. They'll hold everybody accountable except saying, you know what, I have to take responsibility. I was going through a period of ignorance in my life. But they place money and pride over everything. This female, the only response she could have back to that girl, Dana Dane, I think her name's Dana Dane, The only response she had back to her was, "I'm getting money and I'm over here." She said, I think she said, "I'm all the way in I'm on the other side of the world in Canada." And I'm like, the other side of the world? In Canada next door? That's the same continent, actually. So you just drove, I don't know where you from, but you just went across Niagara Falls or wherever it is you was and you popped up in Canada. I have no idea. But the bottom line is the excuse that everybody wants to give is, "I'm making money. I'm getting money. I'm making money. I'm getting money." And it is so sad. It is so sad. I told you I was doing videos. I did research actually. And I did it on, I was posting on, what is that? Twitter. Got no traction. I got zero traction. Posting on Twitter, I was going on a campaign to try and get this a white website down, and they say, they call it ghetto something, I'm not going to use the other term, but basically what they do is they film white men sodomizing black women, making them drink grape soda, because that's the stereotype. Black people love grape soda. Make them drink grape soda while they sodomize them. Make them do all kind of other trifling stuff. Make them recite Black history while they sodomize them, while they're in the act of being sodomized. They ask them which race do they prefer having relations with, intimate relations with, whether do they prefer white men over black men. If the girls still say they like black men, then the white guys will say, "Well, us white guys, we have jobs and we do the," and they always have. I'm telling you, these white people disrespect us time and time again. And these women think that just because they're getting money or opening up a door for themselves, that it trumps everything. You got Halle Berry participating in a movie. What's the name of that daggone movie? Where she wants Billy Bob Thornton to make her feel good. Once Billy Bob, then she didn't even think to say, "This role, I shouldn't even be playing in this role. This role is some straight bedwenching stuff." She didn't think to say that. All she saw was, "I could get an Oscar. This is going to be my breakthrough." That's all she saw. She doesn't care. These women don't care. All they see is the opportunity in front of them. And we can even talk about the men. Because I've said it before about Deion Sanders. Sold himself out for 30 shillings of gold or silver, whatever it was. I have no idea. He could have stayed and made all of the black athletes redirect themselves from PWIs to HBCUs. He could have put that school on the map that he was coaching at. He could have had them playing on nationally televised, and it would have taken look, trust me, it's going to take some decades. Just like it's going to take the WNBA. You look at the WNBA, that has been in existence, I think, for 20 years, and it's still in its infancy as far as monetization. I think they're still losing money. But the bottom line is this: it has to start somewhere. America didn't get built in 1 year, and America didn't go from doo-doo to the most richest civilization on the planet Earth and dominant civilization on Earth in 1 year. They went through periods where they barely survived, that Native Americans had to help them live. The indigenous Americans had to help them survive. How the heck do you think you got Thanksgiving? That holiday, which I don't celebrate, but hey, how do you think you got that? The indigenous, the Europeans, when they settled here, they suffered and suffered and suffered for eons until they got them some slaves. And I ain't saying that's right, but I'm just saying that's what they did. Every society is built on slavery. You look at Dubai. Dubai is built on. If y'all don't know the history of Dubai, let me just say this too. I know I'm digressing. I'm digressing now. You look at the history of Dubai. It was a special that was done. I don't even know what I watched it on, but I watched it years ago. All they do is they get Africans, and I think even Indians. They get Indians and Africans. They trick them. They pay those Indians and those Africans. They pay some agent. They get some agent. It's like a travel agent, but I think it's a job agent. And then they get them, like, I guess, passports, and they get these people jobs over to work on these projects in Dubai. And this was when they were originally building Dubai. And they put them in these little pods. Basically, these men are living in, like, really, it's just big enough for your bed. Like, you just have like a little sleeping pod. That's it. It's pretty much being stuffed in a slave ship. But they sleep in these areas. They cannot leave. Once they get in Dubai, they cannot afford to leave to get back home because the people have their passports and have their credentials. So these people are trapped over there until they finish the job, and they're being paid poor wages. If you honestly think that you could have built what you see in Dubai, you cannot build that paying regular people's salary. Dubai would have gone bankrupt. And I'm talking about, there's a lot of money over in Dubai. All them jokers over in there, the Middle Eastern, they got money, but they would have gone bankrupt. You cannot build any society off of paying fair wages. America got built off slave labor. That's how it became the most powerful nation on planet Earth. You cannot pay regular wages to do that. And Dubai is the same way. They've charged. As a matter of fact, I want to say it was a guy. He came on Kendra G's show. I watched it, and it was an African guy, and he was just laying in his little pod, and he was on the show looking for a woman, and she was asking like, "Where are you? Where?" And I recognized it right off the bat. I said, "Oh yeah, that was that documentary I saw." He's one of them people being held over in Dubai. He didn't say it, but he can't get out. And they're over in Dubai building all those projects. But I digress. I digress from the topic. But what I'm trying to say is this. It takes time to build a nation. It took time for America. It took hundreds of years for America to get where it was at. For number one, for them to gain their independence from Europe. And then number two, to become a civilization. And then number three, to become a powerful civilization. It took at least 100 years. So, and you look at the WNBA, they're still going through their infancy. When you look at hip hop, Grandmaster Flash and Melly Mel and Kool Herc and all of them, they didn't get paid. They did this for the love and for the art, but they helped build the art. And then Run DMC and them came along and they got the money. LL came along, he got the money. And if you look at the money that LL Cool J and Run DMC and even Dougie and all of them got, it pales in comparison to what the people today are getting. The same in football. You look at basketball. When Dr. J and them played and Magic Johnson and them played, they couldn't dream of getting paid $300 million in a contract. And now it occurs. So what I'm trying to say to these people, I'm taking out the monetary portion of it, is at some point you're going to have to suffer. These young female rappers, these young actors, even young business people, you're going to have to suffer in order to help your people out. But most people, what you're doing is you're allowing the white man to trick you and say, oh, well, we're all one race. We're all family now. We're all friends and we're all family. It's all good between all of us. And then you allow them to trick you and then say, yeah, we're all family and friends. So let's do this video. He's going to wear a KKK hood, and then the other man is going to wear a KKK hood, and then you're going to participate in a sodomy with these KKKs. But don't worry about it, because racism is over now. And you think just because you get money and because you can go and buy a Birkin bag or whatever it is that you want to do, and you can get flown out to Dubai and just party and rent boats, that's okay. And Dion thinks it's okay for him to abandon a HBCU and take more. This man already has money. I could see if Dion was broke as hell, I could possibly say, well, I could see why he did it, but I just can't even see why Dion did what he did. He was already rich. So why would you do what you did? Jackie Robinson, same thing. I'm talking about him too. Now, but the only one difference between Jackie Robinson and Dion, I understand why Jackie Robinson did it. He was poor. He was poor, and you're playing in a poor league. But at the same time, what do? You abandon a black league, and you're one of the better players, so all of the other players are looking to you for leadership and guidance and influence, and you abandon a black league to go play and make the Major League Baseball, the MLB, the hottest thing on planet Earth. If you would have stayed in the Negro League, you never know. At some point, once integration occurred, people probably would have been like, the better talent is in the MLB. I'm going to go play over there. And you would have probably had Babe Ruth playing in the MLB. Or, but basically what I'm saying is this. The MLB would have been gone away today, and it would have been the National Negro League that you'd be watching today. You'd be watching the National Negro League, whatever they would have called it. You wouldn't be watching the MLB. Same thing for football, same thing for basketball. You own nothing. And this girl thinks it's okay for her to produce vulgar lyrics And just because she's getting paid, it's okay. Well, again, like I said, I ran it. I done dumped a few things into this subject, into this discussion. But back on the topic, if you know of any female rappers that are saying something constructive, please drop it in the comment section, because maybe we can get these radio stations to start supporting that music as opposed to the trash we're listening to. Seriously. And like I said too, I was trying to get that website banned and it got zero traction. Now I think I just got two. I posted that. I've been posting on Twitter, I think early April. I just got 2 people to like that comment. 2. But again, like I said, if you look at my page on here, you see I don't have a big national. I'm not a person that people want to listen to. I'm not a person of influence. And I have very few subscribers. So I'm not an influential person, but it's the right thing to do. It's the right, and maybe that's why I'm not an influential person, because I'm saying the right thing. I have no idea. The only thing I could look at and say, hey, me and Jesus, we're in the same company. He only had 12 followers. I even had fewer than that. So maybe I'm doing something right. I have no, I shouldn't call him Jesus. His name was Yeshua. Me and Yeshua have the same amount of followers. I don't have 100,000 followers. I don't have 1 million followers. I don't even have 100 followers. Trying to get there because I'm trying to spread the message. But what I'm saying is this: I'm trying to get certain websites banned. People don't want to listen. I would hope that other people would take up the fight, other people who are more influential, because at some point in time, young sisters have to start respecting themselves too, though. You know, I can only do but so much, but at some point in time, you have to start participating in this type of stuff. And I'm speaking to them girls that do that ghetto on that platform, but I'm also speaking to these female rappers who want to tell everybody what they're doing in the bed. I don't need to hear what you do in the bedroom. And I don't need to hear how gross and nasty you can be. I really don't. It's not, I don't even know who can find that stuff attractive, to be honest with you. Oh well, but okay, I just did a dump. This is the political brown kid. Holla at me.